on episode 485 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. We'll be talking about last night's huge AEW All Out pay-per-view event. And yes, I am a little late talking about it. Who earned $50,000 for their charity in the Over the Budget Battle Royal as a part of 0 Hour? Who walked out as the Ring of Honor World Television Champion? Also, who is the AEW TNT Champion? The AEW TBS Championship was on the line. A strap match took place, and the AEW International Championship main evented a pay-per-view right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Thank you for tuning in to episode 485 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Just want to say once again, sorry for wasn't able to get the special live episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic up last night after AEW All Out like I normally do on pay-per-view nights. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm here tonight talking about AEW All Out 2023. Like they say, better late than never. And let's get right into it. But before we get to the main card, we had AEW 0 Hour. And 0 Hour saw Hangman Adam Page win the Over the Budget Charity Battle Royal at 13 minutes, 18 seconds. And not a bad match here, I thought. It was just nothing real special either. Just, in kind of not saying this in a bad way, but kind of average Battle Royal. And later, it was announced that the charity that Hangman Adam Page chose was the Chicago Public Education Fund. I believe I hope I said that right, but pretty much it is a charity organization to help the Chicago public schools. So, good cause, and not really too much of a surprise because Hangman is actually a former teacher. Also, a trios women's match. Hikaru Shida, Willow Nightingale, and Chicago's own Sky Blue defeated the team of Athena, Mercedes Martinez, and Diamante, and Billy Starks was in their corner. 8 minutes, 28 seconds. Not too bad of a match. And I give it 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. The Battle Royal, I forget like I do sometimes. I'd probably say 3 out of 5 ring bells for the Battle Royal. And now the AEW Trios Championships are on the line. the Acclaimed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens and Daddy Ass Billy Gunn, with Rodzilla Dennis Rodman in their corner, defending their newly won Trios Championships against Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Saddam Singh. There was a basketball hoop on the stage, and Saddam Singh came out with a basketball. Sanjay Dutt made it look like he was trying to get him to dunk it, but then instead Saddam stopped and he crushed the basketball with his bare hands. And also, to get some heel heat to get some heel heat with the Chicago crowd, Sanjay Dutt was wearing a Pistons Isaiah Thomas jersey. Of course, I'm sure everybody listening here in Michigan know Isaiah Thomas was part of the bad boys of the Pistons back in the day. And this is a pretty fun match, and Rodman ends up breaking a guitar over Saddam Singh's head. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn retain 5 minutes, 57 seconds. And I wouldn't say this was a 5-star classic or anything, but kind of an entertaining match. I'd say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And that is all for 0 Hour. And now it is on to the main card. AEW All Out 2023 was live from Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. Our commentators tonight, we had quite a few, not all at once, but it would change up a couple times for different matches. We had Excalibur, Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness, Taz, and good old JR, Jim Ross. And even for one match I'll talk about a little later on, the legendary Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And our first match here tonight on AEW All Out is for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds with Evil Uno in their corner, taking on the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Better Than You, baby, the AEW World Champion MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and Adam Cole, baby. I thought this was quite a fun match, and now they've talked about the history that Dark Order has with both Adam Cole and MJF. I thought this one actually it was definitely not only a couple day build, still pretty good though. And at one point, MJF kind of re-injures his neck that he hurt last week at All in London. So he is taken out of the match for a little bit. But he does make his way back out. The doctors are trying to talk him out of getting back in the ring, but he does anyway. And MJF and Adam Cole hit the double clothesline. Cole pins Reynolds, 13 minutes, 58 seconds. Still your Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Better Than You, baby. I thought this was a very fun match, actually. I thought Silver and Reynolds worked a really good job in this match, and just a really fun match. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 ring bells. And then after the match, we see Cole and MJF exiting the ring, going back up the ramp. And while they're going up the ramp, we hear some music from one of the superstars in the next match, and it is the Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe. And as MJF is walking up the ramp, Samoa Joe walks by him and he kind of shoves him a little bit. And this upsets MJF, and at first he starts to go to the ring, but then Adam Cole tries to talk him out of it, but then MJF goes to the ring anyway, gets into it with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe goes after the neck, and then it is eventually broken up. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to lead to a match on AEW television in the coming weeks or anything, but I wouldn't really be surprised though. And just real quick before I get to the match, I have seen people post pictures back from one of the takeovers. I think it was when Samoa Joe was the NXT champion, when they showed him in the back and he was being walked out of his locker room by security. And one of those security guards was actually none other than Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. So I saw quite a few people posting different both pictures of that from when he pushed him when he was security in NXT, and then last night at All Out. And Samoa Joe's match is next for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, taking on Shane Taylor. And this one I thought was a good match, but I actually thought it was kind of kept a little short. And I think if these two were given a little more time, it would have been an even better match with these two. Shane Taylor, great in the ring, as I have talked about. And he's been impressive on Ring of Honor, on Honor Club as of late. And it was just too bad that they kind of kept this match a little short. Still a good match, though. Samoa Joe retained, defeating Shane Taylor 6 minutes, 25 seconds. I'd say 3 out of 5 ring bells for this one. Next up, the AEW TNT Championship is on the line. Darby Allin, along with Nick Wayne in his corner, taking on the actual TNT champion Luchasaurus, with who thinks he's the TNT champion, Christian Cage, in his corner. And heading into this one, Darby Allin has explained that he is beat up from the coffin match last week at All in London. And Luchasaurus attacks Darby Allin on the floor, sends him into the steps, and then at one point even puts the steel steps on top of Darby Allin, and then walks on the steps to re-enter the ring. Nick Wayne takes the steel steps off him. Darby Allin is busted open. And most of this match is actually pretty much dominated by Luchasaurus. And at one point, Nick Wayne is out there and Christian Cage goes over and gives him the towel, as he talked about on Collision Saturday night. He tried to convince Nick Wayne to throw in the towel, and at one point Christian knocked him down and he took the towel from him, because at the time Luchasaurus was in control. Darby Allin looked like he had him pretty much out. But then while Christian was distracted by Nick Wayne at ringside, Darby actually got the advantage over Luchasaurus, came out, did a dive on Christian on the floor. But then back in the ring, Luchasaurus is actually able to get 2 tombstones on Darby Allin, hits him with a lariat for the 1, 2, 3, gets the victory, 12 minutes, 13 seconds. And then Christian Cage enters the ring once again with 2 chairs and is about to give Darby Allin a concerto. But then at this time, a lot of the baby faces from the locker room empty out and come out, make the save for Darby Allin. And then after this match, the medic team, Doc Sampson, the referees, are checking on Darby Allin, and I thought they did a really good job. Darby did a great job of selling. Looked like he was almost just about dead, laying there in the ring, a bloody mess. And now next up at All Out, we have a battle of the big men, or as I've heard on some podcasts, and even the Chicago crowd was chanting at one point. Something about meat. I can't even, meat, slapping meat or something like that. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but, and there was even a meat forever chant during the match, and Excalibur joked that could be a thing in the next AEW video game. And I don't even know if I said who is in the match yet, but this is Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Miro. You got 2 big men going at it here. I thought this was a really good, hard-hitting match here. And Powerhouse Hobbs, I think they did a good job of making him look strong. There were times where it looked like he could have beat Miro, but Miro gets the win here. And then after the match, Powerhouse Hobbs goes on to attack Miro, and then we see the AEW debut of Miro's wife, CJ Perry, the former Lana in WWE. She comes out, gets a chair, hits Powerhouse Hobbs in the back, and Hobbs kind of stares her down a bit, and then Miro gets back up, takes care of Hobbs. But then at this point, Miro kind of looks like he can't believe she's there, and kind of like he's surprised to see her. And then he leaves with CJ Perry in the ring. So, be interesting to see what happens here with Miro and his wife CJ Perry. Are they going to have him in his corner or maybe not? And next up is the strap match, where on Collision Saturday night, Absolute Ricky Starks actually challenged Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat came out with the contract for the strap match, and it said Ricky Starks versus the Dragon. But the only thing is, Ricky Steamboat isn't the Dragon that the contract was talking about. It was none other than the returning American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. In our next match, the strap match, Absolute Ricky Starks versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. And also during this match, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat joins Excalibur and Nigel McGuinness on commentary. This one was... I have seen quite a few strap matches in my life since I have been watching pro wrestling, and I have to say that this might be one of, if not my favorite strap match I have seen. I thought this was great, very bloody, brutal match this was. I thought it was awesome. Bryan Danielson was the first of the two busted wide open, a bloody mess. And then at one point, Danielson had Starks against the ring post and then tied him up with the strap, and Starks got busted open. And it is Danielson having the strap around the neck of Ricky Starks, and he passes out, and the referee calls it at 16 minutes, 41 seconds. Again, a great match. I thought Ricky Steamboat was really good on commentary as well. But this match, I would say, probably one of my picks for match of the night. 4.5 out of 5 ring bells. I don't know. I'm just... Maybe some people think I'm going a little too high with that one, but I was a really big fan of that match. Bryan Danielson, one of my favorite wrestlers. And I think Absolute Ricky Starks has a bright future for him in the business. But next up, though, we have tag team action. And it is the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion, Katsuyori Shibata, and the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, Eddie Kingston, taking on the Blackpool Combat Club team of the Ring of Honor World Champion, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. I just want to say first, though, that Excalibur did mention that Kawada was there, which Eddie Kingston is a huge fan of Kawada and Japanese wrestling, especially All Japan Pro Wrestling. I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but over the weekend at StarCast, Eddie Kingston was supposed to host a panel where he actually talked to the legendary Kawada. Like I said, I have not seen that yet. I might check it out if I can. But I heard it was very good though. And now on to this tag team match. Shibata and Kingston versus Claudio and Yuta. Really good one, I thought, here. And Claudio pins Kingston, though, with an uppercut to get the win for the BCC. Good match here. I don't know if I would say one of the best matches on the card, but still very good, though. But that's still saying something, though, for this card, which had a lot of great matches on it. Next up, Konosuke Takeshita, representing the Don Callis family, with Don Callis in his corner, takes on Kenny Omega. Another really good match here. And, of course, Don Callis does get involved and interfere a little bit. And at one point, Don gets the screwdriver, tries to stab Kenny Omega, but luckily for Kenny, he misses and stabs it into the mat. And it is Takeshita defeating Kenny Omega to get the win. 21 minutes, 48 seconds here. Very good match. I would say 3.5 out of 5 ring bells from me. Still very good match though. And we have an 8-man tag team match up next. Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Gang, Switchblade Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns take on the AEW World Tag Team Champions, FTR, and the Young Bucks, which at this point, there were actually some boos and some CM Punk chants from the Chicago crowd there in the United Center, but still wasn't really quite as much as I thought there would be, though. I was kind of thinking before the show yesterday that almost for the Young Bucks entrance and Kenny Omega too, that crowd in Chicago might even drown them out. Like, for their entrances, you might hear nothing but boos, but like I said, surprisingly, it actually wasn't that bad. What I have heard actually from some live reports is that there were actually some people in the crowd that did actually try to cheer for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. So this match, I thought it was good. And of course there's some miscommunication between FTR and the Young Bucks. And the BCG gets the win when Austin Gunn pins Cash Wheeler and Matt Jackson doesn't get there in time to make the save at 21 minutes, 12 seconds. So you can kind of tell that they are teasing another World Tag Team title match between FTR and the Young Bucks in the future. Next up is our main event, All Out 2023. The AEW International Championship is on the line, featuring who I think is one of the best current champions in all of pro wrestling today. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy taking on the Blackpool Combat Club's Jon Moxley. And this was what I thought a fantastic main event on a great show. Orange Cassidy busted open a bloody mess. At one point, they're on the floor. Jon Moxley starts pulling the tape off of the mats and lifting them up, exposing the concrete floor there at the United Center. And he goes for a pile driver on the concrete floor. But then OC counters and hits the beach break to Moxley on the concrete. And then back in the ring, the match keeps going. And Moxley hits the Death Rider to defeat Orange Cassidy and end his very successful title reign, which he had 36 title defenses at 19 minutes 45 seconds. New AEW International Champion Jon Moxley, the the Blackpool Combat Club come out to celebrate with Mox. And as Orange Cassidy is in the ring, he gets back up and there's a thank you Orange chant from the crowd in Chicago as All Out goes off the air. Once again, great main event. Just my opinion, but I'm actually going to give this 5 out of 5 ring bells. Was a big fan of this one. I thought the commentators, once again, did a great job of putting over that with each title defense, because he has so many title matches. With each match, Orange Cassidy was weakened a little bit more, and some of the momentum and the power was taken out of the Orange Punch because of it, and it didn't have as much of an effect as it normally would on his opponent. But new AEW International Champion Jon Moxley, and that was AEW All Out 2023 overall rating for a pay-per-view. Some people might disagree with me on this one, but I thought this was a very great wrestling pay-per-view, and I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 ring bells overall. I loved it, especially having 2 big pay-per-views in a row. Last week we had All in London, and then last night All Out. I thought both of them were great. And then we had WWE Payback on Saturday as well. But once again, definitely a great pay-per-view from AEW last night. I was a big fan of it. And once again, I'm sorry for having this all-out recap episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic a day late. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, and you can leave your feedback for AEW All Out in the comments section, either right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast app or website you listen to on. And that is all for tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 485. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope everyone had a great day today. Hope everyone enjoyed AEW All Out as much as I did. And we'll be back soon in just a little bit, actually, to talk some WWE Monday Night Raw right here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic. The next episode is coming up real quick. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.